Where are we from? Huh?
Why would you do that? We're in the Endgame now.
Yo guys, my name is Zopreme, and in today's video I'll be talking about Avengers 4 Endgame and the topic of how Tony Stark dies and his death in general in Avengers 4. So it is most likely that Iron Man will die somewhere in Avengers 4, and we're very close to the Super Bowl trailer, so we may actually get some more footage of Tony Stark. The question is, at what point will Tony Stark actually die, and how will he die? The footage presented that I did show before shows Tony Stark dying after trying to save someone else, which is something Tony Stark would do as he's a big and popular hero who would be willing to sacrifice himself. Now, always take footage like this with a grain of salt. It could be from anywhere, and people have theorised that it's from either Avengers 4 or just somewhere else, but the topic of it is quite relevant, as even if this isn't actual factual stuff, then the topic of Tony Stark's death is quite important to Avengers 4 in general. So you could just use the video as a form of imagining what would happen if Tony did die. For all we know, this could be a multiple ending kind of thing, so this is one ending of many others that they have done for Avengers 4. And we do know there has been reshoots since then, so anything is possible. Even if this footage is fake, it still doesn't hide the fact that, you know, somewhere down the line, Tony will die in Avengers 4, sadly. Or if it's not him, it'll be like Captain America. A possible theory of how he dies is he actually sacrifices himself for the Soul Stone, because of course you need to sacrifice someone in order to get the stone, as Thanos did with Gamora. And obviously they would all go to VORMIR, and Iron Man or maybe even Captain America would actually sacrifice themselves, and they would jump off the cliff. And of course the Soul Stone would be key, as if it did happen, then everyone that got trapped in the Soul Stone and turned to dust would return. Now, would he actually die as Iron Man or Tony Stark? And when I mean that, I mean, would he actually die wearing the Iron Man suit, or would he just die as Tony Stark? This is definitely relevant, because if he died in the Iron Man suit, then it would be less emotional and it wouldn't have a bigger impact. Whereas if he died as Tony Stark, then it would actually be a lot more emotional and important and just gripping, because it's actually him. The persona is Iron Man, but under that, his real identity is Tony Stark. And this is of course something that the Avengers would know him. They know him as Tony, more or less than Iron Man. They know him as Tony Stark. If he were to have a funeral, of course, he wouldn't actually be in the casket as he's dead on VORMIR. It would more be like a remembrance for him, as he isn't there and he's in the casket, so they can't carry it into the ground. But it would make more sense if they kind of used one of his suits, like one of his most used suits that Tony Stark used the most, in the casket, kind of to signify the end of Iron Man, the death of Iron Man. And it'd be amazing. Like, if I saw that scene, I'd be so impressed. Going back to Tony Stark and the Soul Gem, we know that Tony Stark would sacrifice himself for the Soul Gem, as it would bring everybody else back. And obviously it's one person over, you know, loads of other people of the Avengers. And obviously Tony Stark is one of the most important Avengers, and he's the key to all of this, to defeating Thanos, for Avengers 4, to Avengers Infinity War. But it'd be more important if he did actually sacrifice himself for everybody else, like Black Panther, the Winter Soldier, all of those type of people, as they make one team. They're all people that create the Avengers, and especially the new Avengers. Tony Stark is one of the kind of founders, along with Captain America. So if he did sacrifice himself, and maybe somewhere down the line Captain America did, it would pave the way for the new Avengers. And it's more than one life. Tony Stark is one person. He's powerful, but the rest of the Avengers mostly have powers, and they have special abilities. At this point, I would either presume that Tony Stark is sacrificing himself for the Soul Stone to defeat Thanos, or maybe it's after to get everyone back, which is near the end, and they actually have to make one last sacrifice, which would be a lot more understandable, and it makes more sense if Tony Stark is sacrificing himself after the events of Thanos and the snap. So it's kind of like trying to just fix the problems, and of course people will die and lives will be lost, which was prophesized by Tony Stark himself in Age of Ultron. So yeah guys, tell me in the comments below, how do you think Tony will die? And yeah guys, I hope you like this video. My name's Zopreme. You guys have been the best, as always. Peace out.